Don't ever pay attention to.
We are live.
What it is. Why are we live, Shivam? You could have waited for us to be. The audio is under your control. You could put the audio down.
Why Shivam just put the volume cue off was because, see, this was all exchange of knowledge and gyan, right? And this is what we have now with 8 days, 9 days to go for the next test match.
Yeah.
This is all that India will also be doing.
So just to let you know what I was telling my young friends here, that they were very perturbed by all your negative trolling of them when they had picked England to win. But see, at the end of the day, they were proven right. So my point to them was, don't ever read comments or listen to people. The ones who tell you you're biased or you're this, they themselves are biased. That's why they see you through the prism of what they want to hear. And so every time you will say something against their favorite team or favorite player or whatever, then you become the worst person in the planet who knows nothing about cricket. So don't pay attention to that. Keep your focus, think about the game, see the game you do, and you are employed and given a job to express your opinion and to express your reading of the game. That will only be true when you are unaffected by the outside noise.
Detached.
Detached. No, you don't have to be detached by the sport. Be involved in the sport, but be detached by
noise,
and everything else is noise. And that should be an equal measure for criticism and praise both. Don't also get carried away by praise, thinking, what I'm saying is right.
That'll make you very selective, right?
But that is human nature, tends to happen. Criticism, if you tend to develop a thick skin, you'll say, I won't look at criticism, but praise, you'll say, I must have been right. No. Both remember, maybe the one who's praising you is also praising you because today you said something very nice about his favorite player. So that's why the praise is also coming. Think about it. But there are certain people who you will know with time, whether they are viewers or whether they are your family or whatever, who you know will be very objective in their assessment. And then you begin to trust only those. Rest of them with the anda on the face, they don't even put their pictures with the egg on it. There's an egg, that comes. Default picture is an egg or something, or the color, some bar, or sometime cartoon or something, or putting Salman Khan's picture as yours, the various people with pseudo names and pseudo pictures, not even their own original identity. Why do you have to bother about for this?
This reminds me, this whole egg thing that you mentioned, there is something called and there's a huge startup apparently that's blown up in some western part of the world, something called a rock pet or a pet rock, something like that. You know what that is? Have you guys heard of it?
No.
In a world where people want to be more emotive, have a lot of feeling at times, they want to have a pet but they can't either afford to or don't want one, whatever it is. You're getting rocks these days with these eyes and all made, and there'll be some sort of thing, to beautify it a bit or make it look like some sort of a pet maybe. People are keeping those things in their house, and it's called a pet rock, and it's in absolute rage in some corner of the world. It's a startup idea that's absolutely blown up.
I can't understand. How can you, everyone seeks a companion, and man is a social animal, and so you seek companionship in other humans or other animals because they at the end of the day react or have feelings, whether it's a dog, cat, whatever you be, your pet. People have lizards, as pets, and mice and hamsters and frogs and all sorts of pets. But there is some sort of a reaction that comes from this. This can only happen when it reminds me of that film Castaway.
Oh yes.
Where Tom Hanks, where he's just left on an island maroon, and the only thing he gets is a Wilson basketball, and it's just a ball. So he then makes it into with hair and all, and he makes it like a human.
Huskies with that his blood. I think he cut his hand or something so that.
So that he could just relate and speak to someone because he has nobody and he's marooned on the island.
Wilson.
And the rest of it, I calls him also Wilson.
Wilson, yes.
And then one time there's this very intense scene where he can't find Wilson and he goes crazy looking for it. And when he does, he's so relieved. It's like a human. You're treating him like a human because that's the only companion he has.
Exactly.
So then I can understand. But in a world where you're living, you're not marooned on an island, there's so many other companions you can look for. You don't need rocks. So bizarre, whoever's doing that.
Speaking of that, is the Indian team also now in an island where they find themselves stranded?
No, how are they on an island? Yeah, actually, it is the British Isles. They are on an island.
Indeed.
Technically. But the latest news, by the way, coming in from England is that Harshit Rana has been released from the squad. He has been asked to go back, and before that he was brought in only because there was a niggle to a fast bowler. I think Akashdeep it was.
Akashdeep.
And because there was a niggle, they were not sure if he will be available for selection. And in case you were planning to go with 5 fast bowlers, that can be the only scenario, right, where you needed someone. Or even if you were going with 3, but on the eve of the match, let's say somebody got injured, Arshdeep, let's say, got injured, and you wanted 4 fast bowlers, and you weren't playing Shardul, then you would need one. So I think as a backup, they had got Harshit. But now I believe Akashdeep is fully fit, and there's no niggle. So there is backup and a backup. So that's why Harshit has been said, you are surplus to the requirement. Thank you very much. It also puts paid to any sort of campaign and thought process that started that Harshit will play because he's coach's
KKR
favorite
quota,
or this and
whatever.
that. That's not happening, just so that you know. He has been, is that it or there's more to this?
From taking to test cricket like a fish to water to now being released from the squad.
Yeah.
It's-
But to be fair, does he, I mean, in the pecking order, does he fit into the squad?
No.
Not in these conditions.
Not in these conditions.
See, if this was South Africa, maybe we would have wanted to keep him. He's in those conditions. He may just at some point come in handy.
Instead of home.
Exactly. At the moment, you use that phrase very aptly. He seems surplus to requirement.
Yeah. So
You
that's
have a Akashdeep, you have an Arshdeep. How does he fit in that?
correct.
And those are players who are likely to make use of the conditions much more, and these conditions are meant for them much more than for Harshit Rana.
Yeah. So then Mukesh Kumar can, unbreak his heart. His heart was broken. Na? He thought that maybe
Karma.
Harshit will play, but see now, he's also not playing. So
Strange.
His
It's really
story,
strange.
by the way, I was listening to Mukesh Kumar's story. He's really come out of nowhere, yaar. He had malnutrition, and yes, he had a malnutrition problem as well. And there was nobody really to take care of him. In some camp, he got spotted where he wasn't favored, but then one of the coaches, trusted him, and he kept at it. Again, when you have nothing to fight for, nothing to lose in life, you dedicate yourself to the sport, and that's been his story. So he's come out of malnutrition. He was taken care of to that extent, and to becoming the player he is today, he's come a long, long way.
no.
Yeah, but Harshit and Mukesh's story is very, very contrasting. Mukesh Kumar just at this time, a year back, all 3 formats he was playing. Now he doesn't feature. Harshit Rana, after Perth was said, he's taken to test cricket like a fish to water. But now he's not even there in the squad. What's gone wrong in their journeys, I really don't know. Fast tracking. But Mukesh had good pedigree in domestic cricket.
That Jaiswal match, I think that
Duckett.
was his last. Yeah.
See, I mean, I think the reason why this is, and that is one of the major reasons why India's fast bowlers are struggling in terms of, now everyone will point fingers at the Prasidh Krishna and Mohammad Siraj and a Shardul Thakur. But the fact of the matter is that, honestly, hand to heart, anyone, if you and I were also making the team, this is roughly our first choice fast bowling attack that we would have gone with. I think the problem that's happened is in the last few years, we've not had a full-fledged fast bowling attack that you've backed for very long. And I think the reason why you do not have a match-winning quartet or 5 fast bowlers, because we keep referring to Umesh Yadav, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah, all that phase, that Ishan Sharma, that phase where we had these fast bowlers. I think it's coincided with 2 things which has resulted in, our fast bowlers not doing well. I still think that they are the best available talent. But why has it not happened is because of the kind of pitches you started making in India in the last few years. See, from 2017 onwards, when you went from that BGT with that Pune test match, and maybe that was just the beginning, and after that, 1920 onwards, I think you just made it a rule of having those rank turners. what you've done to your bowling, and that's why now you are struggling. Though I think your batting reserves, even though someone like a Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli have left, but see, in terms of your batting reserve, you're saying no, we have enough. Like we've got young players, and there'll be a few more coming. The issue with bowling reserves is your spinners you're not going to get. Why? Because those rank turners that you created, those pitches that you created, allowed even mediocre spinners to look good. So the last set of good spinners that you had were Ashwin and Jadeja, who were genuine match winners. But then from there on, you reached a situation, you prepared pitches where even Akshar Patel and Washington Sundar could do the job for you. And no disrespect to Washington Sundar and Akshar Patel, but the conditions were such that anyone who would just land the delivery, a spinner, would get wickets. Whereas I don't think that they were there will be good white ball spinners, but they were never test match bowlers. So what you did was, in that interim, and see, whatever effects you see now cannot happen overnight. If your bowling attack is not looking potent, you have to look back into some time as to why that would have happened. So if that is the case, you'll have to see in terms of why the issues arose. And why did that happen is, one, you made those pitches, so your spinners, mediocre spinners, did well, and then when on flat pitches you struggle for your spinners to pick wickets, and you don't even know who next to go to. And your fast bowling stock also, because what happened, your fast bowlers now don't know how to bowl on flat tracks. In India, what would happen earlier, and when you got this phase of Bhuvaneshwar, Umesh and Ishant and all come in, because they came in at a time where you had these flat pitches. So they learnt the art of picking 20 wickets in India on flat pitches. But as soon as the last few years, your next in line, this group of fast bowlers, leave aside a Jasprit Bumrah because he's a phenomenal, supernatural talent that you have. But the rest of them you didn't even utilize. You were not winning test matches at home because of your fast bowling, because you needed spinners. Spinners would do the job. So you went back to the 70s, 80s where fast bowlers were just to bowl a few deliveries at home. Only time you needed fast bowlers is when you go abroad, right? But any team, your culture will only be defined on the kind of pitches you have home. So if 50% of test matches or more than that you're playing at home, how are you going to develop that next crop? So all the mistakes that you made now of having those rank turners are now coming back to bite you, because your fast bowlers that you're getting have not had the experience. And you need skills on a pitch like this at Leeds. You would have needed that skill on a flat pitch where nothing is happening. How do you now churn out wickets? How will you pick that skills if you did not give them that skill? Why you didn't give them? Because you were obsessed with WTC. We have to make the WTC final. How will you reach the WTC final? We don't want draws at home. We only want wins. We need to be beating them by this margin. How do you do it? To make rank turners. So that short-term goal that you continue to focus on has had long-term impact, and you're facing that. Having said that, that's why I'm saying now is the time you back this fast bowling attack, because I still think they are best. If you bring in a Arshdeep or you bring in a Akashdeep, overnight nothing is going to change. Arshdeep wouldn't have won you the test match, and I don't think Akashdeep would have won you the test match. They would have been as effective or as a Siraj or a Prasidh Krishna. And so each of them, I'm sure you will make changes in the next test match, fair enough. But whoever you get, don't expect it's going to be a miracle. My point is to play in these flat conditions. They will figure out ways on these conditions how to, get wickets. And now at home, and I've seen some signs of that, you saw in England series at home, it started to happen where you started giving flat tracks. You slowly and steadily will allow your bowlers, your fast bowling stock to flourish. And in all of that, I'll also give credit to Virat Kohli as captain. He liked having a fast bowling attack, and he groomed them. He kept it. So maybe this is an indication for the team that don't forget them at home and make rank turners. Believe in your fast bowlers, go for it. That could be the way to go.
Hope so, because barring Bumrah, none of your other pace bowlers gave you enough hope. Because we just saw the stat before coming to the dugout. Prasidh Krishna has conceded economy rate of 6.4. 6.28, which is the most expensive ever in the history of Test cricket for somebody bowling 20 overs.
For an Indian bowler, it's the most expensive, somebody who's bowled 120 deliveries or 20 overs.
Yeah. So the previous best was a Mohammad Siraj.
2022.
Yep. He went at 6.14. So that is why combined when you look at it, you've got issues. But we are only touching the tip of the iceberg. Fast bowling is not an issue for you. There are issues which are deeper. And that's what we are going to explore in this dugout also.
I mean, the one thing that you know about fast bowling on this tour is that, and this is what Gautam Gambhir pointed out as well, that Jasprit Bumrah is only there for 3 test matches. But did Jasprit not hint?
He did.
What did he?
So Jasprit was having a word with the broadcaster where he said, so the feeling was communicated about Sunny Ji and I think it was Harsha, I think in the comm box who'd said that, or in the presentation box, whatever, that why can't, there's a decent enough gap between test match 1 and 2, so he should be fresh for the second one. Third, just push yourself, play the third one. Then between third, 4 again there's a gap, and also you can't miss the third one because it's Lords for that matter. So you want Jasprit Bumrah at Lords. Next is Manchester after that, swinging conditions, etc., etc. So basic feeling was that why can't Jasprit Bumrah just push and in an ideal scenario give us all 5 matches. So that was communicated to him, and that's when he indicated we'll talk about that a bit later.
2 things I have, and I'd like to get your thoughts on the second bit. But the first bit about this request, since you mentioned that these requests were being made, I don't think it serves the purpose of these requests. I'll tell you why I say that. We were doing a Hindi chat earlier and I tried to explain that as well. I mean, that's a hypothesis that I have, is that, Jasprit Bumrah can only be effective for a certain period of time. It's all very good that we want him, let's say, the very simplistic way of looking at it is, if he can play more test matches for us, wow, we'll be in a better position. But the question here is, will we be in a better position? And I don't think we will be. And I'll tell you why. Because I think his effectiveness is directly related to his workload. What I mean by that is that even in one test match, if I overbowl him in the first innings, his returns in the second innings will be affected. And that's when I was thinking, why is it that Jasprit Bumrah was not effective in the second innings? Is maybe because I think he bowled 10 overs more than he should have in the first innings. And I'm not saying the captain was wrong to do it, because there was a partnership developing, so I utilized him. The thing is that Jasprit Bumrah, the kind of bowler he is, and I gave an analogy, and it's a way you look at it. Some people are workhorses, like a Siraj is, or an Ishant Sharma was, right? The more they keep bowling, they'll be at it, and then get your wickets. Certain fast bowlers can only be used in spell, and if you use them in a limited amount of time, they'll be affected. I mean, I have a feeling that if he had bowled 15 odd overs in the first innings, which is 10 overs less, he would have been far more effective in the second innings, because the difference is like a difference between a sprinter and a middle distance runner.
See, the thing was, who would have then cleared up the tail?
I know, but see, my point is, going back to this request, that let's get him to play 5 test matches. It is not going to serve the purpose. So what will happen is his effectiveness will spread out, and then he will become like any other bowler in some of the test matches. While he's there, but his effectiveness will spread out. Instead of just using him in limited quantities to really help you win those 3 test matches, if I spread it over 5 test matches and have that workload, I may not even get one match winning performance from him.
It's interesting. The thought is interesting, and maybe it makes for a good statistical analysis as well. Is Jasprit Bumrah, whatever times that he's bowled more in the first innings as compared to the second, if there's a marked strike rate difference or is
see, I tell you, maybe we can look at it, but I'll tell you why I said like that is because it's the nature of the bowler that he is. See, he is, as I said, it's the differences between like a sprinter and a middle distance runner. So for example, there's a Usain Bolt. He's an amazing sprinter, right? But he's great over 100 meters. Now, if I make him run a 3000 meter steeplechase, 3 kilometers, right? Now, some can argue, and maybe you look at some data that, he can run 100 in 10 seconds, or let's say 200 in 22 seconds. He could run 200 also. Then if you allow him, he'll be so far ahead, and then when the rest of the pack catches, again he runs 200. He can take rest in, walk in the remaining thing. When the rest of the pack catches, then again he runs 200 faster than the rest of them catch, he runs, and maybe he can win like this hypothesis, right? But what we forget in this is that he will not be able to run every 200 in 21 seconds. His productivity will come down technically at every 200, even though he'll get that breather of 10-20 seconds by the time everyone else catches up, but his productivity consecutive 200s will keep dropping till the time where he reaches the last 200, where he'll probably do that 200 in 1 minute from 20 seconds, right? So his productivity is reducing. So he cannot be made to run, and we cannot calculate that he runs 200 at 20 seconds so he can finish it like that. It just won't be possible. That's my thing with Jasprit. I have a feeling that if he's used 15, 18 overs per inning, he can be far more effective than rather than using him 25 in one, and then you'll get him to do 10-15 more in the second inning, but that effectiveness will drop. And this I'm extending to more test matches as well. So you play him all 5, maybe you won't get the same sort of result. So it's best have him in limited quantity, short bursts, limited overs, each innings he'll do the job for you, let him rest. That's the kind of bowler is he. If he was a Siraj like or a Ishant like bowler, then maybe you could have gone with it.
He's already bowled 1/4 of the quota that he's had to bowl in the BGT. Already in one test.
See, that's the difference.
He's bowled 43 overs out of the 150 plus that he's bowled in the BGT already in England. And you still have 4 more tests too. And you're going to get the same kind of conditions mostly. Because the nature of wickets in England has changed. It's not green anymore. Whatever you will get, it'll be on top. But that's also not a guarantee. Lords is also flattened out. Edgbaston might be like 2022 all over again. Are you going to bowl a Jasprit Bumrah for 40 plus overs in every single
You can't
test?
do that. You can't do that.
Then that means, see, I was actually having a look at Jasprit Bumrah's average. If you have to look at 4 innings when you look at it, okay? First innings when you look at it, he's bowled a total of 333 overs in his entire career, okay? And he's taken 39 wickets at a average of 24.2.
Okay.
Second innings, 549.3. He's bowled overs, 549.3 overs. He's taken 84 wickets, 17.6.
So that's much better.
So here, if you compare it with the Leeds situation, he bowled in the second innings of the match. Second and the third innings, he has a phenomenal average. To 264 overs, he's gotten 17.5 average. Fourth innings is 21. It doesn't seem to suggest that the effectivity can come down, but then those numbers hide one particular thing. He picked up 5 wickets.
pitches. I think what these numbers don't tell you is that the pitches.
Pitches. You look at BGT. BGT,
I don't remember a single match in which so many runs were scored by the opposition. 2 innings together.
Melbourne, when you look at it.
But I doubt if the total, if you add that, would be as big as the total that you saw from England across 2 innings.
Correct. So, and Nikhil pointed out something about workhorses, okay, and express pacers with bursts. I'll give an Ashes example. 2030 gun bowler who was expected. Yes. He only bowled about 4 overs in a burst. But he was successful for one particular reason. Siddle, Harris and Lyon. All 3 chipped in with wickets. And that is why you look at it. 37 wickets, 25 wickets, 24 wickets, 22 wickets. It was a comprehensive display.
This is what the problem is, man.
This is the problem.
That's what we saw in both the innings. There was a time where you needed Jasprit Bumrah with the new ball. That's like a by default thing. By design, you need Jasprit Bumrah to be bowling with the new ball. There's a partnership. Where do I go? Jasprit Bumrah, I go to you. Tails scoring runs. What do I do? Inexperience anyway. Jasprit Bumrah, you come back. So if for every situation my panacea or my silver bullet is Jasprit Bumrah, that Jasprit Bumrah also needs support. There's only going to be once in like 4 matches which will be remembered just for Jasprit Bumrah, because he would have single-handedly won you, but otherwise you need some sort of support. And if that's not going to come Jasprit Bumrah's way, and this is where I think all predictions will get tested now, because you've lost the first match when you were in a commanding situation. And I remember saying this, I doubt if there are better batting days ahead for the Indian team. Now if that's not going to happen, Jasprit Bumrah is only going to be playing 2 more matches for you. How does India put on a good fight going forward? This is what I fear for the Indian team.
And the other worst part, you lost a test with Bumrah.
Exactly my point.
2
exactly
more
my point.
games, you're not going to have him. How are you going to cope up?
What is going to happen in those 2 matches? And by the looks of it, This is only speculation and just guesswork at the moment. I believe he's playing the second match. I don't see him playing the third, and perhaps then he'll play the fifth.
But that's why you need to be prepared then for a scenario without Jasprit Bumrah.
So at Lord's you may not have him. At Oval again you will not have him.
Yeah, I know it's a short-term problem for you, but long-term you'd have to look at a future without having a Jasprit Bumrah consistently, because his workload is never going to come down. It'll only get progressively worse. He's not becoming any younger. So you need to find ways, which is why I'm trying to tell you that you need to invest in fast bowling. You need to back fast bowlers. I think we've been very impatient with our fast bowlers as well. That's the thing. No, that's now Prasidh and Siraj and Shardul didn't do anything. Bring on Akashdeep, bring on Arshdeep. That's not going to change things. That's what I'm trying to say. The same thing we were thinking. Akashdeep played one test in the BGT, wasn't good enough. Out with him. Mukesh played a few test matches, didn't do well. One test match, in fact, didn't do well. Yeah. Out with him. You cannot make pace bowlers like that. Just as for batters, we keep saying, how do you judge them in one or two innings? You got to give them. Also, give them flatter conditions at home. Don't rely on just spinners. That my spinners will do the job. You are just a supporting cast. They will learn here only, bowling in those tough conditions. You'll have to back, and you'll have to rely on as I said, Bumrah is not going to be there. For these test match, you have to find ways. You can only teach someone swimming when you throw them into the deep end. There's no other way of looking at it.
Thinking aloud right now, since that was mentioned, are we too far away from there being a scenario as we saw was in the case of Hardik Pandya, where you wanted him more in the other formats, and you realize that he's not going to be giving you a lot of time in test cricket? Then let's just get the best out of him in white ball cricket. With Jasprit Bumrah, what's that sort of timeline that we're looking at, where you think, okay, T20, there's going to be a World Cup every 2 years. You add 2 more years to that, and you're looking at a ODI World Cup in that sense as well. So 2 T20 World Cups every 4 years and an ODI World Cup. Okay, let me have Jasprit Bumrah for that more than Test cricket.
I think 2027.
After that?
After that. Because see, Bumrah will turn 32 in December. 2 years later, he'll be 34. Looking at his injury, looking at all these other things, 2027 seems to be the most ideal time where you may have to look past a Jasprit Bumrah 1 or 2 formats.
But in your assessment, looks like 2 years?
Yeah. 2 years.
And see, that's why Gambhir coming out and saying it in as many words. I don't know what you make of it. There is some sort of chatter. I was saying that even if you knew that Jasprit is not available for 3 test match, don't come out and say it. Why let the opposition know?
Mind games.
What do you make of that?
I don't think it makes a difference.
In the era...
Also, the team that has just won with Jasprit Bumrah there, would it really have mattered? Would it have sent really a warning signal out there? No, Jasprit Bumrah is available for one more. They would have said, listen, we had a plan. We played out Jasprit Bumrah, Ben Duckett, and Crawley would say, so what? You have him play all 5. We counted him here.
Why I said it is because India does not reveal their playing 11 also. Like so they take the opposition by surprise. Now you already told them they're not there. He's not.
That for cricketing reasons, it sort of makes me feel smaller. It hurts my little ego that I have, let's say, as a cricket fan. Here we are losing matches when we don't even tell our 11. You've played England time and time again. Australia reveal their 11. We don't even reveal our 11s. We reserve it till the last hour, and then also we find ways of losing the way that we did.
You did reveal your 11 once, but you lost that even badly. WTC final of 2021. You lost that also badly.
That is probably one instance, Siddharth, in so many years of Test cricket. But we are so reserved that way. We keep things so opaque. We build the great wall of opacity when it comes to Indian cricket, and then
the great wall of opacity works only when dealing with India and Indians. It doesn't work there. It didn't work in Australia. It will never work in England also. And in the era of social media and global technology, which is like interconnected like never before, is the BCCI or the Indian cricket team as equivalent to a CIA or a Mossad? That they will not reveal and we will take the opposition by surprise.
It looks like a state secret at times. So what do you reveal? Next morning you can go change. Even if you reveal, it's not like quote unquote official, right? It's out there. If conditions, whatever, and we like to believe that, the Indian team takes these calls on the day of the match, how a person feels, how the weather makes them feel, whatever it is. You go make a change over there. Who's stopping you? But tell us, this is like a well-kept state secret which will come, disclose it. It's kept in cold storage. It will come out only on the morning of the match. I just don't get that mentality at times.
Okay.
Other teams are winning WTC finals. They're winning series after series like that. But no, this state secret of ours will be disclosed only the next morning.
No,
and that also, at times, we get to know that the plan was something else and another decision was made in the middle.
No, I also agree that it hardly makes a difference. Come up with your plans. And also, this was just a question I just threw. I think the world knows that Bumrah will play 3 test matches. You can hide it, be open about it, entirely up to you. And India has to find ways to win the test match even without him. In the long term, you have to look at it like that. Try and answer the question that we have on the dugout, and both of you can attempt it. Are India's pacers then the culprit for Leeds' loss, or bowlers are unfairly being targeted? There are various other reasons why India lost. Because right now the biggest villain is Prasidh Krishna, Siraj, Shardul, and to an extent Yashasvi Jaiswal for his fielding.
Not for me. Not for me, the bowlers. If I look at where things went wrong massively, it's those 2 collapses. And collapses have been the story of Indian cricket since you played that series at home against New Zealand. So if you're giving away 6 wickets in the first inning for 24 runs, ideally when you should have crossed 500, that's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, again, you're in a very good position. You're 333 for 4. Next 6 wickets, loss for what? 30% increment. But what does that 30% increment mean? 31 runs. If this is how the lower order is going to be, pitching in or not pitching in fact, you're destined to lose. And in India, I think you can always look at the bowlers and say, okay, 20 wickets won, picked, and matches are win when you take 20 wickets and all of that. But it can't mean that you get into these solid positions and then give things away like that. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen. 500 is a psychological, battle altogether, and you need strong men to fight these psychological warfares when it comes to 500 runs. And England also would have been, tested that way. So it can't be that 2 times you had 450, 500 in touching distance and both times you didn't get to that mark.
It's a tough one. I mean, see, it will be very easy. It will be the easy way to just say, oh yes, Prasidh is responsible, Siraj is responsible, no support for Bumrah. However, there are a lot of culprits in this, but my main culprit is that Prasidh at least got you wickets at certain points. Siraj tried. But what explains 165 runs extra that England managed on the back of Yashasvi Jaiswal dropping 4 catches, that too 4 at clutch points? If a Duckett was taken at 11, he wouldn't have scored a 62. Same, if a Duckett was picked for 97, imagine what 200, at that time they were 180. Imagine what pressure could have caused, because they lost 2 wickets in clubs consistently.
After the break.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. For once, on a flat pitch, everybody of us had picked that this would be the bowling lineup. For once, you're right. The prime reasons why India used to win matches overseas is because even 8 to 11 contributed. They battled it out. You can't hide a collapse. But for me, catches win matches. Bowlers are being unfairly targeted here.
Coach said that it's okay, it's part and parcel of the game, catches.
4 catches. See, you have to understand the broader context of it. Bumrah is only going to play a couple of games. He's not going to play all. This was your best chance to win.
But, just a word on, I'm not debating that, Yashasvi Jaiswal bit, but because I saw a lot of people on social media and otherwise on YouTube channels and everywhere else panning Yashasvi Jaiswal, saying about that he was laughing. Remember, there was just brought about yesterday as well about question. But now that I've spoken to certain people there, I think it's very unfair. So he was not celebrating or he was not having a fun time there. And because people are saying there was no remorse, you've dropped so many catches, matches lost, and you're having a good time, smiling, clapping. That was not the case. The actual story is that Yashasvi Jaiswal was being targeted by the English fans. They were mocking him and making fun of him. And what he was showing with them, that they were clapping for him dropping catches. He clapped with them. He said, you can clap all you want. it will not affect me. So what he was trying to show them is that if you think I'm now nervous and bogged down, he was on purpose smiling at them and clapping with them, saying, it's okay, I'll also join in the fun if you're making fun of me, but I'm not going to get bogged down. And I think that was a nice way of him handling that. I mean, a young kid can get perturbed, he can go into a shell, but he was showing them that it's not affected me.
Yeah.
And I think that is what he was doing. He was not celebrating. So I wanted to clear that out, because make stories out of this in conventional media, saying laughing, having fun.
See,
that wasn't
no one is criticizing his being, excluding even that. I can understand if he had dropped 4 catches in the outfield, but this is not the case with Yashasvi Jaiswal. You would also remember Nikhil and Harshit.
MCG.
Australia.
The match was gone there. And Yashasvi Jaiswal, let us make one thing very clear. His axiom of catches win matches will only gain far more credence. I mean, Prasidh and Siraj tried.
It's a thought that I had. Is there enough evidence now that we have, perhaps, that we look at a different fielding position for Yashasvi? Because it's happening in the slip cordon quite often.
Khwaja, he dropped at short leg. He dropped he dropped at gully. He dropped in gully and slip,
second slip.
He dropped at deep square leg. Okay. I
think slip cordons more often that we've seen.
See, sometimes when you look at it, Yashasvi Jaiswal, I'm not saying that he's a bad fielder. He's taken some stunners in the past also. However, Melbourne and Leeds showed that if something is wrong with him, it becomes wrong on a consistent basis with him. He can't recover from that. Sure, he put on a brave face by telling the English people, you can't rattle me. But he was rattled. It was clearly visible. 165 runs versus a combined economy rate of 6+ by Prasidh Krishna and Mohammad Siraj, I think is far greater than what it is. I'm sorry, it may sound harsh, but we've always thought bowlers and batters are the easiest target. Let us once pan a fielding thing.
No, that's a valid point. But since we had a debate about, okay, like you said, so let's not put in the blame just on bowlers. Fielding, I think you think is the biggest culprit. I think Harshit pointed out about the tail not really chipping in with the runs. But going back to bowling, and because as I said, number one villains have been Prasidh Krishna or Siraj or Sanjay Manjrekar makes an interesting point, and he says,
obvious areas of improvement.
No, listen, just go. There are obvious areas of improvement, but I'm going to be critical.
Yeah, one.
It's okay, Shivam, we can see it there also now.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, it's not fair to be critical of the younger players like Prasidh Krishna. There are obvious areas of improvement. But I am going to be critical of Jadeja because this is a final day pitch. There's a rough for him to play with. And in the end, I know there were a couple of chances there, but we have to expect more from Jadeja. These are not typical English conditions. This is not where the pitch has nothing to offer. I thought he didn't use a rough enough against Ben Stokes. He did, but against Ben Duckett very late in the day. In the innings, he came and started using the rough from experienced bowlers, experienced batsmen. You expect more. And somewhere, I think Jadeja was disappointing because the seamers had nothing in the pitch for him. But at least Jadeja has something. Manjrekar, Jadeja criticism, England. You dream up your own story in that sense.
But I think he makes valid points there. As we pointed out, for fast bowlers, there was nothing much to do. For spinners, at least there was grip. We saw that happening from day 3 onwards. By day 5, there was more. We spoke about the rough there as well. Did he use the Shardul Thakur getting only 6 overs an inning or something like that? Jadeja has bowled 47 overs in a test match, and to finish with 1 wicket. And that too, I think, was a gift that Ben Stokes gave him, because
he also tried some.
He's just continuing to hit reverse sweep as if he doesn't know what else to do. So it was a matter of not now, next time, and the next time it did happen that he was out. But I'm just saying, 47 overs for 1 wicket for an experienced bowler like him, who you expect to help you win a match, where there is some sort of rough, some assistant at least. I'm not saying it's a spinner's paradise for him to step
Although
up?
this time it seems to.
We were facing some internet issues in our live broadcast. I've been told by a producer. Could you guys comment in the comment section if you guys are facing any internet issues in listening and hearing us? If it's fine, just write it's fine. If you think it's buffering or there are issues, just write that, please.
Cool, okay. But I think this comment is slightly harsh. When no other bowler, barring a Bumrah in the first innings.
Wait, now let us know
Yeah,
if they can
just
hear
hold
you
it.
or not.
Hold that.
What if you have some gems to share with us and they can't even hear you?
Yeah, okay. I think I'll also just check.
Could you just please write in the comment section?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Everyone says that it was buffering some time ago, but now it's fine. Okay, thank you.
Some are saying.
It does look like.
Some are saying it's fine. Now fine. Okay, now fine. Okay, hoping that it's fine now.
It is fine now.
Okay, thank you.
Intermittently it is losing. It's perfect. Okay.
Go ahead.
Mr.
Star.
Biswas said, perfect now. Chalo. Siddharth,
Okay.
green
Now,
signal.
see, the thing is, Manjrekar is harsh in that particular sense. Because, barring a Bumrah,
But you're saying because it's Jadeja is.
I mean, suddenly the parallel came up to in 2019, Old Trafford, Manjrekar, Jadeja, do your own story in that sense.
But what Sanjay had said at that time was right.
Absolutely 101% correct.
Then?
But here, didn't we ourselves mention that, look, if this is a fast bowling unit, maybe the pitch is like that. Didn't we put the pitch under the scanner then when we were doing our analysis in the first 3-4 days itself? How do you expect your pacers to get it? Because it's a typical flat deck with no assistance whatsoever. Siraj, Prasidh couldn't land 6 consistent balls in the same area or length which would trouble them. The consistency was further not aided by the fact that Jadeja was not targeting the rough. Normally an accurate bowler. How could he not hit that rough accurately? That was...
So then you yourself are backing Sanjay in his claims?
But I think it is harsh. I may sound like I'm backing him, but it's actually a harsh statement. Because when no other bowler did well, and this innings was the absolute anomaly because Bumrah didn't get you a single wicket. That is where I think this further exacerbates the problem that India has. But you look at in England, where has Jadeja had that much of success in England also? For him to be like saying, oh, he's had a bad match when he had 6 good matches prior to that. I'm sure his average is...
Yeah, whatever. But I sort of, find a valid cricketing logic in what Sanjay says over here. For the simple reason that we all as viewers, sitting miles and miles away, understood that there's only one ploy that Duckett and Stokes had come up with, and there was reverse sweep. It reminded me, in fact, of the time that you were being swept all across when Rachin Ravindra was here. Remember, sweep.
Latham also in Pune.
Yes, and it felt like, the Indians weren't thinking enough, and there was not one, not two, but multiple boundaries that you'd conceded on the offside. After which then we'd put on the thinking cap and we finally had a boundary rider there and make the batter do something different. It came very late and that application should have come in a little quickly.
Then isn't it the captain's fault then? Because he is setting the field.
And the bowlers. Then it's need. See, the captain will give the field that the bowler is asking for.
But then see, if he's noticing, supposing I have hit 3 boundaries in one particular area only in the same over, then won't the captain come to the bowler and say, boss, you want a fielder there, isn't it? Because you're bowling that same length, you're bowling the same line. Bowler may be wondering, okay, what do I do? Captain will come and say, boss, I'll do one thing. I'll put a fielder there. I'll then ensure that, okay, you bowl the same line, your boundary count is then reduced. But I didn't see any kind of interaction between Gill and Jadeja. Was there any kind of interaction after those 3 boundaries were hit?
I don't know who was the captain. They're saying 4 captains. Rahul was captain.
Pant was the captain.
Bumrah was captain.
I could only hear lots of chatter from Rishabh Pant. He was the most vocal and setting the field in that sense.
That's a given.
What did you make of the comment by the coach on Pant, which has also gone viral?
Oh yes, there were other positives also. But I don't know. Why would Gambhir want to react on that? Because it was
The thing is that the question was asked about Rishabh Pant's 100 and 200 in both
on
innings.
the positives, yeah.
And I think Gautam stopped the reporter saying that there were 3 other hundreds as well. And, you're not asking me about them. And I think the question could have been framed better, is what Gautam told the reporter.
Is it? Again, I think, wasn't it harsh? I thought his peg or his question would have only been on Pant.
Yeah, I thought that question can be anything. You can
Exactly.
just ask about one player. It's fair. Doesn't have to mention all. Somebody else can ask about Gill's 100. Somebody else can ask about Yashasvi's 100.
I know. I mean, why would Gautam have to give that kind of a statement? I really
But
don't
to be fair to Gautam, maybe because he's not very fond of just
one milestone.
one person also only being given credit. Maybe he likes in general that it's a team game. Speak about everyone who's got 100. Nah, why you only talking?
You're saying that on the anniversary of a World Cup celebration.
Yes. But that World Cup celebration, he was not born.
Yeah, he wasn't. But still, I mean, yeah, I am a reporter. I can ask a question on a particular angle. I wanted to find a particular angle. Why?
What do you make of the general? We were talking about Pacers being the culprit. The other one who's facing a lot of flack is Coach Gambhir as well.
He's won only 2 tests. I mean, he's won only 3 tests in his entire tenure, ever since Bangladesh. He's been whitewashed at home for the first time ever. BGT gone. 1 test already, you're down.
But did you expect India to be winning this series? So
I had said, realistically 2-2, I had said, looking at the bowling card.
So if it's 2-2, then you'll be fine with Gambhir?
I'm anyway fine with Gambhir, even if you lose 4-0 or 5-0 even here. Who's the next alternative that you've got?
Coaches, so there will be so many.
Gambhir is...
Dada has said he wants to be coach.
Sure, but again, a transitioning coach in a team is always the softer. Why do I say that? We have had a history of it. From John Wright, when we were winning, the transition happened when Greg Chappell took over, right? What happened with Greg Chappell? What happened with the results of the team that was there? Because Greg Chappell was not from India, he could be easily chucked out. But with Gambhir, that might not be the case. Luckily, ever since 2007, you've had some string of success that you got. Under Gary Kirsten, you had some under Duncan Fletcher, you had some under Ravi Shastri. All those things were swept under the rug. But now your real transition has begun. And we all know with transition, what a period he has had to undergo. Virat is gone, Rohit is gone. He has to manage certain people and end the superstar culture in that particular side. What do you do? What do you do? So that is the thing.
Thoughts on... And stop referring to him in Gigi in your supers, in your thing everywhere. Half the people don't understand. Gambhir. That reminds me. I had to point that out.
Coach Gigi.
Coach G.
See, I think if it's not just about Gambhir.
That before that, we'll take Vansh Jain's comment. 4-0 is fine. Are we Bangladesh or what is?
You've had a 4-0 in England earlier as well.
Of course.
But that was not fine.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I
And that
think
was
he makes a
your,
valid point.
By the way,
Can't
it was
take
your
4.
peak team also. Of course, Zahir got injured in the first test, but then after
Somebody
No,
said this,
11
right?
players got injured in all.
that. Yeah.
somebody
More
said
than
this,
11.
na? This happened the last time you won a World Cup.
But I agree with
This time also.
Vansh. I agree with Vansh that you cannot be saying this. Yeah. 4-0
4-0.
is fine. No, sorry, I'm not.
Siddharth, he just said, na,
Yeah,
that
I
he's
said.
going to be fine.
Okay, what do you think? Okay, who's the next alternative? I know
coaches,
Ganguly
they
is-
could be 100, yeah.
VVS, they're saying, yeah.
Anybody
VVS,
can
time
be.
and again has
VVS,
been around
there's
the players.
Rishikesh, Kanetkar. There's so many in the coaching pipeline. I don't know.
But this time, as we know, there was only one applicant, I think, no?
Because you knew that no point, nobody else.
So is the job not lucrative enough?
Sometimes you don't stand for an election when you know that there's only one
Unopposed.
winner.
Exactly.
That's what. But when you make somebody else a candidate and you think you have a chance, then many want to stand.
See,
Coaching, you'll have 100
in the
options.
past also, we are behaving as if we have...
Or people don't want, like, Congress party, Shashi Tharoor stood and see, you won't want that in
Don't
Indian
get
cricket.
See,
into
we are all thinking, oh, we have never lost in England. That is the kind of mentality we are still behaving at this point. Even with your peak captains, barring a Dravid, you've never won in England.
So my submission on that is this would have been difficult for any coach. Forget Gautam Gambhir, just that because he comes across as a personality who's extremely bold, he's curt with his words at times, he's the one to give back and not just soak it all in. That's the personality at times we as touchy people don't like. So we like to put the blame on Gambhir, but let's be honest with this young team, and not like we've got a proud history of winning in England, you've only won thrice. So it was always going to be difficult, and you're asking a mountain to climb from this team. You're asking Gautam Gambhir to move mountains over a duration of 8 months as the Indian coach. There are new players who've come in. There's a Jasprit Bumrah who has workload problems. So there's so much that's happening in Indian cricket right now. You put back Ravi Shastri, under whom you registered that famous win in Australia. Even he's going to find it difficult. So at the moment, I think you need to be patient. We need to be accepting of the results as well. That's not saying that you need to be passive, but questions need to be asked. Cricket also is still as democratic as it's always been in this country. So we must continue to ask questions. We must continue to question the methods as well. But what I would like to see, and I think I saw that here, what we saw in Australia was the methods were wrong. You thought that with ODI methods you could win Test cricket as well. That has to be the learning for Gautam Gambhir and his management as well. And if it's an error that ends up costing another series altogether because you don't want to shift from those previous methods, I think then there'll be a genuine case for you to move past. But if you're looking at making corrective measures for a team that's in transition, I think it calls for some more patience then.
Okay, let's dive into questions, please.
Already he's mentioned. Our names are down here. Yes. Okay. Danush is saying, this loss for India is embarrassing as innings defeat 50 plus runs or by 100 plus runs. Considering this is the weakest England bowling attack in the 21st century. I mean, indeed. I mean, you have Josh Tongue, barring a Chris Wokes who's been around for 14 years. Tongue, Cars.
You know, I don't believe in this weakest English bowling attack because I've once bitten, twice shy. I've given you that example. 2011 when India were going to Australia, I said the same thing. The weakest bowling attack, Siddle, Harris,
Hilfenhaus.
I said the same thing. Then
Pattinson.
Then 4-0 happened. So since then I have refrained from underestimating the bowling attack of the opposition.
Bowling attack.
Yeah. I mean, even same, if you look at it, Australia when they were to England, 1989, weakest Australian side ever, 4-0 out of 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, please.
Ashish Dhar, YJ can learn, Yashasvi Jaiswal can learn slip catching from Bumrah in Lakan. He couldn't be Bumrah, he became Baga. Because Baga dropped catches.
Bumrah was
that chicken farmer in which he used to take.
Oh, he was very
lightning
sharp.
Yes.
Baga?
Baga was.
How many drops?
He dropped 3. In that movie, he's dropped 4. He went one better than Baga. So, I'm telling you, if Yashasvi takes a catch at Edgbaston, these memes are going to go viral. Baga just going around doing the dhol dance in the entire stadium and people running on and hugging him and yes, you've taken the catch. It's going to happen, I'm telling you. Yeah, this was the one. Baga. And I'm pretty much sure Shubman Gill, when it's going to Yashasvi Jaiswal, say Jaiswal, like they say Baga. Amir Khan will have his heart in his mouth then at that point in time.
Okay. Mo. Sharan says, Nikhil bhai, I have a feeling every time India loses first test badly, they actually go on and perform well in the series. He is hopeful this time.
BGT 2020-21.
Yeah, Sharan. I mean, I still feel, if you ask me, it's going to be very tough for India to win this series. As I said, in England, even the best Indian teams before this have barely won. And now if you look at England's record in the last 3-4 years, they've been outstanding at home. There's a reason for all of that. And to expect this team, a rather inexperienced team, to be, beating England suddenly like this, I don't think that will be a fair assessment. But it's not to say that they won't run them close. They've already in the first test match run them close. You will get many more exciting contests. There'll be a win or two maybe in this series. But to expect them to beat India, I mean, if that happens, it'll be no less than what they did at the BGT. So let's see.
Faraz is saying, the way this England team is set up, 20-30 runs at 8 by Shardul on his best days won't make them lose their sleep, chasing an extra 30 runs. India need to look to get 20 wickets, and that's the only way to stop them.
I agree, which is why I said that maybe now in hindsight, you will have to go for out-and-out wicket-taking bowlers. And it's not that Shardul is not. He is a wicket-taking bowler. I think you didn't use him well, but maybe Kuldeep will have to be that option.
Yes.
I don't think any of the fast bowlers that you even have in reserves can single-handedly win you games. Unless you get helpful conditions, then yes.
Yep.
Then yes.
Sadistic Sid is like saying, India
Your alter ego.
My alter ego. India incapable of 20 wickets taking. Play 11 batsmen, then draw. Of course. Play 11 batters. Get only bowling machines.
That's such a simplistic way of looking at things.
Yeah.
If only life was as simple.
I know. Ashish Dar, if Bumrah rested, Arshdeep should play in second test. Has county experience, left-hand angle test, right-handed by English players. Kuldeep in place of Prasidh. So these are the two changes that Ashish Dar wants, in case Bumrah doesn't play.
I think it will also be unfair on a Prasidh if you don't play him the next test match.
Yeah.
How can you just drop him? He was one of your leading bowlers getting into this from the warm-up to the England tour. Had a good last test match. You played him one test match. You drop him, I don't think is fair.
One you don't drop, yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Mikey King is saying, we lose, our bowlers and fielders didn't perform well. From focus on better, especially bowlers. Bumrah out, Arsh in for workload. One, and he believes Bumrah should play the third and fourth test. Gill needs to learn fast.
But I think he'll play 1, 2 and 4.
1, 2, 4 seems likely, yeah.
Most likely, yes.
1, 2 ka 4.
1, 2 ka 4. I hope it's not 4, 2 ka 1. The next big thing is like saying, test downfall started after VK left test captaincy 2022. No, yaar. It happened. It was already there. You were winning at home. Great. You won one in Australia. But then apart from that, you didn't win in the other 10 countries. You didn't win. So, we lost 2 WTC final also. Yeah.
1 in this period though.
In Virat's. Virat's period 1. Then. Yeah. Statistics said, tail fail is excuse. India would still lose if target was 450. England chased 5 wickets down, not 9 wickets down. You can't hide behind Bumrah all life.
No, either 450, come on. Now, let's be a bit realistic also. Now. It's a different sort of pressure.
You wouldn't have had time.
450, 500 is 450, 500.
Yeah.
It's a difference. It's a big difference.
And you're not going to have that much of time. I think, it was, you were in the last hour, 373, another 80 runs
even
more.
If it was exactly 450, 80 runs in the last hour.
Would have been very difficult. Yeah. Austin Kuna, Bumrah didn't bowl from 85 runs to win. Sadly, will be final.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what he's thinking. Joburg 18, Oval 21 are under celebrated wins under VK. Kohli, Adelaide 2014 or Pant Leeds 2025, the biggest heartbreak.
Kohli, Adelaide.
They are hands down.
Those are just outstanding innings.
Yep.
Brilliant. Bigger heartbreak, definitely. It was an unbelievable position from where they were attempting to chase.
360 or
364. You had to chase in one day. And you fell short by 48 runs there. Gaurav Kandoi is like saying, Nick sir, I'm your biggest fan.
Thank you, Gaurav. Very kind of you.
I have a question. People saying it's a young team, they will learn. India average age is 29.5 and England age is 28.6. Everyone is experienced.
No. So it's not, Gaurav. I don't think it's fair to call it an experienced team. I'll tell you why. You start from Yashasvi Jaiswal is still young into his career.
Plus his first tour of England.
Yeah. KL Rahul is experienced, completely agree. But also remember, KL Rahul experience is one thing, was also in and out of the team. But I'll still take him as experience. Your number 3 was a debutant. Your number 4 is Shubman Gill, has had enough time, but also playing his third test match or fourth test match in
test
England,
now, yeah.
2 WTC and 1 match only. So effectively just the second test match of a bilateral series, and captain also, young in age as well. Then Pant, yes, he's played enough cricket. I'll still count him as an experienced thing. No
So you've
doubt.
got only 2 experienced
Two
players.
as of now. And then 6, Karun Nair, maybe age, maybe, see, that's why the average here may look good. But how many test matches has he played in his career? So in that sense, his inexperience at that level, right? It's not always about age, it's the experience at international level that you look at. Recently Dilip Doshi passed away, unfortunately, but he made his debut after 30. But if he was playing his first test match, he wouldn't be considered an experienced bowler, right, in that sense. So that, and then you get into your bowling. Jaddu is the third experienced one that I will say that there is. And then you have Shardul, Thakur, Bumrah, Siraj. Shardul also 12 test matches or whatever. Siraj and Bumrah are your experience. So 5 players that you can say in a squad of 11. So it's a youngish team, I'd have to say, an inexperienced team. And see how it's changed. Your 3 big stalwarts in Ashwin, Virat and Rohit have left. So wouldn't that make a difference?
Has more centuries than this entire Indian team.
Yeah.
I think now the gap is reduced now. 5 they scored. England only scored 1 century. Two centuries. Pope. So yeah, the gap has reduced between them. Rakesh Bhushan is like saying, how wise and foolish of Agarkar to send a naive team to England. We are missing Iyer, Sarfaraz, Shami, couple with clueless captain who doesn't know to place field, least which we can expect. What did Agarkar see in Shubman Gill?
No, but it wasn't, I don't think it was Agarkar's decision alone. It was the entire selection committee and also the coach. I believe they all backed him. But that's as I said, there were limited opportunities. Here at Sports Today, we were
All for Pant.
all for Pant, but that's what they saw and they've gone with it. So again, we'll see how his captaincy pans out. It's just early days for him. But yeah, you're right. We pointed that out yesterday in our post-match show that he did make a lot of errors as captain. But first test match, so.
Yeah. Ankit Nas
Is
from
that your
Canada.
cousin?
He is my cousin, yes.
You can tell him on message.
He says, has Shashwat quit? No, he's not. He's enjoying a lovely holiday.
Yeah.
He's new age kid. For him, IPL is far greater than test match. He has said, IPL, he did not miss a single day. Credit to him. Yes. He came on all days, even on his off days. Former test cricketer, but also IPL. Na?
Former test cricketer turned IPL enthusiast.
So he believes. So he said, IPL I will not miss, and he did not. But he said, test matches I can miss. How does it matter?
Yeah. Next big thing is saying test captain easy.
Yeah. Test captaincy is easy. Then
In same pod asks what test captain.
He's saying Jadeja had said test captaincy is easy in the same podcast. He said. So why can't he ask for something that's easy also? He can believe it's easy and then ask for it. That I want the easy thing. The two are not mutually exclusive, na? They can be there together.
Ashish Dhar says
Shivangi you missed here.
Shivangi.
Missing Rowe as test captain is like missing Arjun Kapoor in Bollywood.
Hey.
What? That's harsh, yeah. Very. I'll tell you why, because the next part of the comment is like that. GG03 home, never lost home under
Virat Kohli.
VK. That's the clue. BGT joke. VK, yes, 1-2-1, England 21 with Broad and Jimmy.
What 2? Series got completed next year, na?
Series will be 2-2 only.
2-2.
But yeah, that series. Then, ideally they shouldn't have come back India.
Yeah.
And a lot of players were ready. They were ready to play. Just certain players wanted to come back. They wanted to play the IPL. That was wrong.
$1 million league, yeah.
Whatever. Then there you have it.
But whose record will the series go against? I still don't know.
Until you play the last.
Series record doesn't go. Test match records go, na?
But if you were to look at series record, whose record will you put that against?
Both. It will be both.
Both?
Yeah.
Both Bumrah, Virat.
It will have to be like.
Series.
Yeah.
Will have to be, yes.
So Bumrah's captained a series in England.
Yeah, yes.
Half a series. Because
1/4 series.
yeah, but it will be looked at like that.
It will be. Ashish there is saying, thanks to Steve Buckner, we won 1-0 in England in 2000. Of course.
No.
cast iron LBW he missed here at Lords. That's why, yeah. He somehow hung on by 1 wicket against England at Lords. Crystal Days from the UK is saying, Prasidh failing in bowling conditions in South Africa and Australia still. But
No, he didn't. Australia, he played only one test
Sydney,
match and
yeah.
he picked up 6 wickets. Yeah.
Yep, he did.
Yes, he had a terrible match in South Africa, after which he
Centurion.
didn't get a chance to play and has now come back.
Yep. Anchal is saying 2-1 in 2021 is greater than 1-0 2007. 2022
That
test,
series
VK
cannot be
wasn't
looked at
captain.
2-1, yaar. Again, the series did not end there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It has to
the
be
same
looked at.
thing.
as
It's
2-2.
like saying, first leg, semi-final is over, I'm leading 4-0. Okay, match over, tata, bye-bye. I'm going to the final of the champion. It doesn't happen like that.
The problem is, I did the same thing during Monkey Gate also. Because so many bad decisions went our way, we won that match.
It's like
Like
saying
winning the World Cup on paper.
It's like saying Bumrah won the BGT 1-0. You were leading, na?
Yeah. Bumrah won the
Bumrah won 1-0 and then rest. of them.
Som one is like saying someone. Either why didn't you put the ER? Jesus.
Style,
Someone. Shubman Gill was following the ball also at times. The field placements were done by other players. I think he still needs some time to mark his authority on the team.
That's why I said there were 4
Correct.
captains, no? 3, 4 captains.
Indeed.
But see, again, everyone chips in. Let's not just look at things in isolation, incidents in isolation, and say that it'll take time for him to mark his authority. I think the authority is there. They know he's captain. Final word belongs to him. But I think he's also okay with everyone chipping in. Eventually, he needs to get his decisions right. All this about my authority is questioned. I am the right guy. This and that. That's.
But what he does need to do is have a very serious conversation, probably a stern one at that, with his tail. And see, reputations aside, I know he wants to create a good environment, as he said, and all. Take care of everyone. This is to give good environment, security, safety, all of that is good. But a captain has every right to ask his players as well as to why it's happening again and again, and this can't happen. There needs to be that sense of accountability.
True.
And if that means having hard conversations, as we reported here, that those hard conversations happened with the Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, if they can be held accountable for their loss of form, then these guys are also equally accountable.
Sure, but those conversations happen after an extended period of.
Yeah, but this collapses
Sure.
have not been a thing of just the Leeds test. Let's not forget you got bowled out for 45, also 46 in Bengaluru too. So it's been on since then. You saw collapses in that New Zealand series. You saw collapses in Australia as well, and you've seen one again.
The next big thing is like saying Sidvi is biased. Okay. Till 2021, India won 2 Australia tours. Lead England 2-1 in 2021, then captain coach changed. Till Chetan Sharma PC, India even won first test in South Africa, then VK injured, then lost 1 test, left captaincy. Now 0-3 home. But where is the bias in this? I just don't understand. You didn't win when Virat Kohli was full-time captain in 2018. You lost 4-1 in England.
But I think what the next big thing is trying to say here is that credit where credit's due, that Virat took.
Sure, I mean,
India as a test team from, let's say, from a 6 to 8.5, 9, that you need to give a credit to Virat Kohli for.
True.
I'm not debating
Virat
that.
is the most successful Indian test captain, without doubt. Nobody is denying
Exactly.
that.
But then I'm also pointing out that sure, this also happened.
But he shouldn't have given up his test captaincy.
That was untimely.
Yeah, he should have
Untimely.
continued being
Yes.
test captain. I don't think there was any need. He was one of your finest test captains that you've had in history. Completely agree. We gave examples of how if Virat was captain, at least those field settings wouldn't have happened. Final day of Leeds test match.
Also, in 2014, you knew that, after Dhoni, you knew the baton's going to go to him only. We had seen enough indicators that way. And Virat was showing enough promise as well. When that happened, you don't have any indicators. You didn't know who to turn to. And you were looking around, and Rohit Sharma had been up and down in terms of his career as a test cricketer. It was just experience, his form in ODI cricket and all of that you then turned to Rohit Sharma. Otherwise, did you really have an heir to Virat Kohli? Perhaps not. The answer wasn't as straightforward
in fact,
as it was a decade back.
Saurav Ganguly in the latest podcast has said that when they approached Rohit, he wasn't ready for captaincy. He wasn't really mentally prepared because he didn't know it will come so suddenly. And Then they had to convince him that no, you have to take on the mantle now. Yeah.
Gaurav Kandoi is like saying, sir, VK last series record in England is 2-1. Last test Bumrah we drew series.
No, we know that, Gaurav, but it will be counted as
counted
that,
as
na.
one series.
2-1 cannot be the series. You can't leave the series like you were leading, as we've already given those examples.
You can't. SA he left after 1-0. I mean, he was injured.
Yes.
Oz we won series. Only NZ was not conquered. I mean, sure, you did win in 2018 and 19. We conquered. Conquered in that sense.
Yeah, he's right.
He's right. So, yeah, that's the issue.
Are we done with questions?
Okay.
Okay. On that note, what do you want to see before we wind up? One special thing is,
Oh, acha, right.
okay, a meme coming up. No, yes.
Nah.
We don't want such memes. Thank you, Shivam, for trying hard, but no. And not such mean comment. There are more questions you've taken?
Oh, no, we haven't taken these last three. Oh, it just came. Okay.
Big boys' toys.
Even up also, I don't know who that is, but okay.
What? So many are there, yeah.
Big Boys Toys. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
There's one
we'll
above
take
it.
that one.
Above.
Forget continuation.
Yeah.
Gaurav Kandoi.
Acha, you've taken
Yeah.
that now.
No, Sid sir, you have to give it to VK. Till MS, we were happy with a draw in Sena. Now we analyze that why we have not won overseas. Earlier, this would work. I don't know what to make of that statement, because you're not winning still. You lost. That was also there.
He's saying that at least the change in mentality and the expectation changed because of Virat.
Yeah, change in mentality has to relate to even results on the ground. Na? If I could understand, yes, from not winning anything to winning everything, I can imagine that. But then you won more, okay, but then you also lost more. That's the thing. Big Boys Toys. Forget continuation VK. 0-3 home is worse than MSD.
That's a blot. That's a blot on your CV.
Yes, indeed. Crystal Days like saying shouldn't play fighters just after 2.5 month IPL tired. Who will convince them?
And is there an option?
There isn't an option. It isn't. That's the whole unfortunate, bitter truth about this whole thing. Yeah. So
On that note,
It's dinner time.
thank you very much. With that concludes another edition of the Dugout. We'll see you tomorrow, same time.
yes.
6:15.
6.
15.
What time are we live? 15, 6:50. Acha, I thought you told me 6:50. It sounds so similar. That's why you didn't tell me 15.
6:50.
Acha, it's always late. Harshit is always
Shots
late.
being fired, yaar.
From both I think.
Okay, guys, take care.
Nandri, vanakkam.
Have a good midweek.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
See you. Shubhratri, Shabba Khair, eat your vegetables, don't trouble your
Nothing
mother.
coming. More content coming now. Why are we saying good night?
Of course, from the studio live.
From-
More from the Sports Today team
Ah,
throughout the next 4-5 hours.
yeah.
Bye-bye. Subscribe.